G'day folks, this evening I've made my way to Lake William Hovell for a twilight bait fishing session. Jeez, that was a big fish. Now, on the way up here, I brought my my long lure fishing rod, my soft plastics rod, and I was going to fish one rod with bait and one with soft plastics, but the problem is, with Lake William Hovell, when it's full, the banks are really overgrown and it's hard just to walk along flicking soft plastics. I can fish from here, a little spot there, and a little spot just up there, and that's it. As the lake goes down, I've got all these grassy flats over here that I can walk around and along over there, but while the lake's full, I don't have that option, so I'm just going to drown some bait. I'm going to use 2 rods with worms and to see if I can pick up either a redfin or a trout. Now, this lake's got redfin and trout in it. There are also a few goldfish and a few European carp in here, which is a bit unfortunate, but they don't seem to be here in big numbers. Maybe the water's a bit too cold for them to really flourish, I don't know. But for whatever reason, it's mostly a trout and redfin fishing lake. Now, before I set my bait rods up, I'm going to put an underwater camera in. I love putting this little GoPro Hero 10 underwater and seeing what I can capture. 1080-30 super view, full battery. It should hit the ground about there. Maybe just go up a little bit. I don't want it too high. If that's at ground level there, that should be in frame. I reckon that should do. I've found this huge big long stick here that I'm hoping will allow me to just reach out. It's quite a steep bank here, so even if I can just get it out there, it'll be in about 6 or 8 feet of water. I'll turn it on now. Start recording now. I've got to really take note and make sure that I am recording because I'm so sick of putting it out in the water and checking it only to realise that I wasn't recording to start with. Right, go! Hopefully that doesn't land upside down, just face up to the sky. And hopefully the cord's long enough to reach the bank. Here's hoping that works. Rightio, here's my first line. It's a running sinker rig on my JD custom rod with a couple of Jan-Jack worms. I'm just going to put that out there a bit. I don't normally fish up here a lot at this time of the year. I fish here in winter, like this off the bank, trying to catch winter trout and possibly a redfin. And I fish here a lot in the autumn. Late summer, after Christmas and into autumn, chasing redfin, but late spring and early summer is just the time of year that I don't fish here a lot. I kid you not, I just grabbed my other rod to pick it up and rig it up. It's currently rigged with a float rig, and I had a bite on my rod that I just put in. It's been in like 10 seconds and I had a real nice bite. I'm going to guess from a tiny redfin, but whatever it was from, that's a good sign. Right, I've got my trout rod, my lure rod rigged. It's only got a really small sinker about the size of a pea because it casts quite well, and I've got a paternoster rig. It will be hard to keep a bit of slack in the line though. I suspect with such a small sinker that I'll have quite a lot of slack in the line, but that shouldn't matter too much. I'm going to cast that one out a bit further. I just know from experience there's a big deep pool just there, and it's not as deep out there where I cast that. The running sinker rig just had a bit of a nibble. I just saw a bite. But there it goes, I'm getting a bite on the running sinker rig. It's nibbled it a couple of times there. Come on, give it a good bite. I took my eyes off my rods for a second. I looked up, and the rod on the right was vibrating a bit. But the rod on the left was moving, it just had a nibble. The rod on the left, the line was tight, and the rod on the right was vibrating. I think something's bit the worms on the rod on the left, and it's just caused this other rod to vibrate. Whoa. That was a nice bite, that. He's still nibbling. There he goes. I'm going to get him, and got him. He's tiny. There's definitely, oh no, it's feeling a little bit bigger. It's still a small fish, but it's bigger than I thought it was. Believe it or not. Oh, it got off. Can you believe that? Can you believe that I finally hooked one, and I got all the way to here, and it got off? Well, that's a little bit disappointing. I had a near fish experience. I think it might have been a near 10 centimetre redfin experience. I read something very interesting the other day. Did you know that there's no canaries on the Canary Islands? If you go to the Canary Islands, there's no canaries there anywhere. And it's exactly the same thing over at the Virgin Islands. There's no canaries there either. I've just decided to check the bait on the bait on my running sinker rig, and there's a fish sitting on it. This is why sometimes I hit record before I go to check the bait. Look at that. I haven't gut hooked that, have I? How would you gut hook a fish so small? I've gut hooked that fish. He's necked that hook. It's like 10 centimetres long. Well, hopefully my underwater camera has seen more fish than what I have. This camera's been underwater for 1 hour and 49 minutes. So I've been sitting here fishing for just under 2 hours. And I've caught one and lost one. It's been very slow. Right, go! One of the really cool things about Lake William Hovell is that the water is always so clear. In the 3 or 4 days leading up to me filming this, there'd been nearly 100 millimetres of rain in the catchment, and the water is still really clear. Now, once the camera was in and this murky water settled, it wasn't until after the camera had been in for 8 minutes before the first fish came along. And that was a small redfin. Followed only a minute or so later by another small redfin. That may well even be the same redfin. Now quite a large carp swims in from the top right hand corner of the screen. About 5 minutes later, another carp swims across the same area heading the opposite direction. It may have even been the same carp, I'm not sure. And now we get the daily double, 2 carp swimming past. One thing that I've picked up from this video is that next time I go to Lake William Hovell, if I want to try and catch a carp, I'm probably going to be best off using a float. I've noticed the redfin are all down low, but the carp are all up really high, closer to the surface. See what I mean? And now another carp swims over up high. It's interesting to note how these carp are all following the same flight path, or is that swim path? It's also quite interesting to note just how many fish are actually under the water that wouldn't bite my worms. Well, the fishing hasn't been particularly amazing. That's an understatement. I caught one tiny redfin the size of a sardine, but that's just how it goes sometimes. You win some, you lose some. As long as you have fun, that's all that matters. And I've had a wonderful, relaxing evening up here at Lake William Hovell. Thank you all very much for watching.